Hello and welcome. I am Daniel Levy. This is In the Pocket. We've got a great show planned for you today. I'm going to be giving you my top 10 NFL power rankings and my bracketology of the week. I've got AccuScore NFL Playoff Simulator with me that's going to help us simulate my predictions for okay, so basically I'm going to predict the playoff seeding and everything like that. And then AccuScore, and both AccuScore and I are going to generate what we think is going to happen. So I'm going to make my predictions, and then AccuScore, which is some fancy simulator I found online, is going to make its predictions, and we'll see how they line up. But first, we've got our top 10 teams in the NFL today. Week 5 is in the books. After that Monday night game, great comeback for the for the Broncos there, and tough loss for the Broncos. Now, without further ado, let's go to our top 10 teams, starting as always at number 10. I've got the Minnesota Vikings as my number 10 team, and before I forget, I want to give you guys the call-in number. The number is 312-550-3914. 312-550-3914. Be sure to call in. Be sure to text in any questions, any comments, any concerns. And I hope you guys enjoy the show. Now, the number 10 team in the NFL today, the Minnesota Vikings. They are 4-2, and they have a lot going for them. Although they did have that tough loss to Washington last week. And I'm not quite sure if I'm still buying into the whole Minnesota's, an elite team this year. I'm not sure if I'm buying into that yet. They are 4-2, and and they've been playing quite well. And their offense has been pretty explosive. Adrian Peterson, I did not expect him to come off of that injury as well as he did, but he's had a very successful year. And then they've got one of the best run-stopping teams in the NFL today. The only concern I have with Minnesota is that I'm still not quite sure that they are the elite team that they're playing like. I'm still not buying in. I'm not quite convinced. But if I'd say 2 more games of this kind of caliber play, and excluding obviously the Washington game, that was not a great game. But 2 more games, and they've got a couple of a string of easy games coming up, in my opinion. They've got Arizona, who didn't crack the top 10, and I'm not buying what they're selling. I'm not sure if I don't think Arizona's an elite team. But you've got Arizona, then you've got Tampa, and then both of those are at home, and then you've got Seattle on the road. Seattle's been good. They are in the top 10. I'll tell you that much, and they have been a very good. They've been a very good team. Now Arizona and Tampa Bay, not top 10 teams, obviously, and I'm not sold on either of these teams. Tampa had a nice game, and Arizona lost, I believe, but Arizona lost to Buffalo. Sorry, I didn't have that on the top of my head. But, I'm still not quite convinced on Arizona. Or, Seattle I'm starting to buy into. But Arizona I'm not buying into. And I'm not buying into Tampa either. Now, so that concludes our segment on the Vikings. So as I was saying, I think if they can string together a couple, maybe even 3 wins in a row, I will buy into the whole Vikings are a legit team. I do have them in my bracketology playoffs. I have them snagging that 6th seed in the NFC. When I was making the bracket, I was debating between the Vikes and the Eagles, and I just thought the Vikes have been playing better, and the Eagles, people are saying that they're a dynasty, but they haven't proven it, I need proof before I buy into a team. And, so Minnesota, number 10, but still not quite sure if they are the team that everybody thinks they are. Number 9, and this might come as a shock to a few, but I have the New England Patriots 3-3. The 3-3 New England Patriots, I have them at number 9. Some might argue that they should be higher. Others might argue that they should not even make the top 10. And I'm right in the middle of those arguments. New England, they're not playing like themselves. They have, obviously they've been quite a dynasty over the past, ever since really Tom Brady, and I got the fun fact of the day right here. New England has lost only 7 games since 2009. 3 of those losses coming this year. So, you tell me what that means. Because if they've been that good, they're not playing like themselves anymore. Let's take a look. They've got, Tom Brady has been, is on top of it as ever. Stephen Ridley, I did not expect their running game to be as good as it has been. Ridley has 524 yards, 4 touchdowns, and obviously Brady connecting to Welker quite well this year. But they still only 3 wins, and the teams that they have lost to, okay, let's take a look. Let's break it down. They beat Tennessee, they've beaten Buffalo, Denver, they lost to Arizona, Baltimore, and Seattle. Okay, they should have won 2 of those 3. I understand them losing to Baltimore on the road, but they had Seattle on the road and Arizona at home. They should have won both those games, but they just couldn't pull it together, and they're proving to me that they aren't what they used to be, that they're sort of dying down. They're an aging team, and maybe they're dying down. I don't know. You tell me. 312-550-3914 to call in, and this is in the pocket. We've got our top 10 teams in the NFL. That's what we're doing right now. And we just did number 10. And, their running defense has been surprisingly well, but, you've got really 3 parts of the defense. You've got the line, the linebackers, and the secondary. And the linebackers and the secondary just haven't been proving themselves a lot this year, and they haven't been doing what they need to do. So, that is New England at number 9. Now we've got, at number 8, the team that they lost to, the Seattle Seahawks, have climbed up my rankings to number 8. I did not have them this high in the preseason. I think that I had them around, in the middle of the pack. But, Russell Wilson, he's not a young. The reason this guy didn't get drafted high is because he's older. I believe he's 29. I'm checking on the number for that. I believe that he's 29, and you don't want to draft a guy that's almost 30 years old, because what good does that do for your team's future? You only play till you're 35, roughly. So if you don't have those, if you don't get those, 10 years from 20 to 30, then why do you want to draft the guy? Yeah. Or I'm sorry, I was way off. Russell Wilson is only 23, but that's a bit too old for an NFL player, especially quarterbacks. When they take such a beating, they're going to have shorter careers than usual, and than most careers. So, but Russell Wilson, drafted in the 3rd round, quarterback has led Seattle to a pretty legit 4-2 record. Yes, they should be 3-3. They did not deserve to win that game against the Patriots, but you know what? They won it, and that's all you can say. It was a terrible call. It's. On the plus side, it's really got the replacement refs out of the NFL. But you know what? It was a bad call, but bad calls happen, and that's what you don't think the Patriots got to be 16-0 without a few bad calls? You don't think the Lions could have maybe won a game in 2009 if there had been a few less calls that didn't go their way? So you've got to. The Patriots deserve to be 16-0. The Lions deserve to be 0-16 that year. But my point is bad calls happen in sports. That's why they don't have instant replay in baseball. That's why they only give you 2 challenges. And that's why I'm fed up that they review every scoring play. They got to keep the game moving, and if a bad call happens, then that's the nature of the game. You cannot let a bad call determine how your team does in the end of the game. Yes, sometimes it does, and that's just how it works. But you've got to be better. If you're so neck and neck that one call determines the game, then maybe you didn't deserve to win that game. Maybe the other team was playing better football. You just happened to be on top at that particular moment of the game, and that other team, they got the call that went their way, and they won. So yes, the Seahawks should be 3-3, but they've been tested. They've had a good year. Russell Wilson has had a good year. Their only 2 losses, however, have been against divisional teams. That's not good. Those are the games that you have to win. You have to beat the divisional teams because the divisional teams are what put you in the playoffs or what don't. So you've got to be able to win those divisional games. And I'm not seeing the Seahawks. If the Seahawks don't win the divisional games, then they might make the playoffs. However, I did, just as I started the show, just as I started talking, and I look at my list and I see the Vikings below the Seahawks. I did swap them out, so now the Seahawks have the 6th seed in the bracketology. But you know what? They deserve it over the Vikes. I wasn't thinking right. I was in a rush. We were having technical difficulties. I just had to get the playoff bracket rolling, and I made a mistake. But that is how it works, and I've got the Seahawks fixed up there, and my bracket is better. Now we have at number 7. And by the way, the Seahawks beat the Patriots. That enough is a top 10 team. You've got to be top 10 to beat the Patriots. Anyway, number 7, Green Bay Packers, only 3-3. I still think that the Packers are a legitimate team. I still think that they're good. I still think that they can win football games, and they proved it on Sunday night against Houston. They annihilated the undefeated Texans, the then undefeated Texans, 42-24. And Aaron Rodgers, 6 touchdowns. This is career high, 6 touchdowns. And then, he's my key player for them. And then they've got an easy game next week against the St. Louis Rams. So that's great. But the one downside that I have marked for the Packers is how inconsistent they have been. They have not been winning key games. They've not been winning the games that they should be winning. Let's take a look at some of the teams that the Packers have lost to this season. And you have, let's see. They lost to San Francisco. Okay, you can get that. But then they lose to Seattle on the road. That should have been a win. Okay, we get that. But then they lose to Indianapolis. You've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and you lose to a team that has a rookie quarterback, then there's a problem. You're either not consistent enough, or you're just not a good team. The Packers are a good team, but they are not consistent, and that, I think, could make or break them. And that's something that we take into account in our simulation. They have upset alerts because of consistency issues. They take in all the stats and they figure it out. That's why I've been playing around with this all afternoon, this AccuScore thing, and it's really quite interesting. You guys should check it out. If you just search how to make an NFL playoff bracket, or make your own NFL playoff bracket, it should come up. It's on the Wall Street Journal website, and then you plug in the teams, and it generates what AccuScore thinks that the playoffs are going to look like if those are the teams in them. It's quite interesting. Anyway, that was my number 7 Green Bay Packers. Now we're going to take a short commercial break, and then we've got the number 6 team, which will remain a mystery. Stay with us. This is In the Pocket with Daniel Levy.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, and we have our first caller. This is Nick Rice here in California. So, Nick, you've heard the bottom of the top 10. What are you thinking so far? Have anything to say for me?